Here we go. Here we go. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It is Saturday morning, so you know it's time for another live edition of the Extra Point. As you can see, me and Tasha was getting our groove on in the pre-roll. Tasha, T Sizzle is in the house. We got a ton of stuff to get into today, Tasha. A ton of good stuff. We got some questions from the Goon Squad that we definitely want to address today. But we can't start this show off without acknowledging the First Lady of Sports. Yes, of all sports, had a very, very special day on the 4th. One, Miss Tasha T. Sizzle is finally old enough to drink. She turned 21 on Thursday. How you feeling, birthday girl? How was the birthday? Let's get that out the way.
Y'all know I don't drink. Your girl was drinking beer. I have this shirt on. It's
I saw you
Presidente.
with a beer on the beach. I couldn't believe it.
It's Presidente. This is the beer of the island. Guys, I had some damn beer. Oh my God. I've had all kinds of liquor. I've had multiple glasses of sangria. I've had wine. I've had shots of Mama Juana, which is also Tiffany, hand me that bottle of Mama Juana out of the cabinet. Mama Juana, which is another Dominican drink here. Had 5 shots of this the other day with my breakfast.
You were doing shots, Tasha?
Woo! Yeah, your girl been going through it.
You know what? Like after the show, I'm going to beg her to lay down and take a nap. I have been following her.
No,
her
I cannot
stories.
because we're going to brunch because it's her birthday today.
Happy birthday from the Extra Point, Tasha T. Sizzle. I must admit, like last week I was hating on you, and now we're right back at square one because I've been following your stories all week, and it seems like you had an incredible weekend on the boat. You had a nice birthday, had friends in town, drinking, got your beach. Looked like the weather held up for you nice down there in the DR for your birthday week. So if anybody deserved to have a special week and a special birthday, it was you. So thank you to all of the people that reached out to my bestie and wished her happy birthday. She means the world to all of us. Y'all know I ain't saying nothing that y'all don't know. All right. So last night, Tasha, one of the most anticipated Final Fours in the history of college basketball went down last night in Cleveland, and it lived up to the hype. South Carolina, the Fighting Don Staleys remain undefeated, going 37-0 after pulling away from North Carolina State in the second half. They are looking to become the first team since UConn in 2016 to enter the championship game with an unbeaten record. And if they close the deal on Sunday, they become just the 10th team in the history of college basketball with an undefeated title run. Big time stuff. But Tasha, we'll get to South Carolina in a minute. We must go to the nightcap where Paige Beckers and Caitlin Clark put on a show. Iowa held on for a 2-point lead on one of the most controversial calls you will ever see in a high-stakes basketball game, where Connecticut was called for an offensive foul with under 4 seconds left to go in the game when they were attempting to take the go-ahead shot and win the game. Paige had turned the corner, looked like she was headed straight for the basket, but it went the other way, and unfortunately for UConn fans, they come up just short. Let's start right here, right now, Tasha. Was last night a little Caitlin Clark cooking going on in Cleveland?
First of all, ain't nothing like some good old white on white crime. You got Paige Beckers up against Caitlin Clark. That's the whitest of the whitest you can get. Man, that was a BS call. Even though, like they said, you always say the PC, the politically correct things at the end of the game. Yeah, we had the opportunity because we had, this lead and we let them come back. So we're not going to just say it was just this call that determined the outcome of the game. That is a lie. Diana Taurasi and what's her name? Sue Bird, the dude that does the show, they were on Sportsman with Scott Van Pelt, and they were both just, not really being UConn homers, but you let the players determine the game. That call shouldn't have been made. And then when you go back and look at it, even in slow motion, there no elbows, no contact. I didn't see a screen. I don't know what they were looking at.
Good morning, A.P. Coulter. Loves and hugs to you. Tasha, I agree with you 1,000%. in a game and in a tournament that has been as physical as it's been in the women's game, to have a call like that decide the outcome was absolutely criminal, especially given the fact that, to Iowa's credit, they overcame a first half deficit of 12 points, but they had a 7-point lead with like 2 minutes left to go in the game, and Paige and the girls walked them down. Yeah. Secured the rebound, had a chance to win that game, and to have that call, looking at it in slow motion from all of the different angles, there was no lunging of the shoulder. There was no shoulder check. Now, her feet, people say that by the letter of the law, her feet was not set. Actually, Langston just commented on that prior to the show.
We get that, but who calls that? That's like some of these calls you have at the end of NFL games when refs are throwing these flags. Like even though it may have happened, you don't throw the flag at that time. You just let the game go as it's supposed to go.
You don't. You just absolutely don't. Now, I will say this for the Iowa supporters, because they're in droves now. They're like us when Tiger goes to the Masters, and we'll get to that in just a little bit as well. Twitter was pretty divisive. You saw some pretty big names saying that was a BS call. And let's just keep it real. Caitlin Clark moves the needle when it comes to the Nielsen ratings. Mm-hmm. And although I wanted to see that matchup all along, and I'm not a big fan of Gino Auriemma for what he did to Pat Summitt and her run.
Not at all.
That you just cannot make that call. Now, to Iowa's credit, one of the more good morning, Melanie. One of the more underrated aspects that happened late in that game outside of that offensive foul call was the fact that UConn didn't box out on the missed free throw. You got to box out and secure that free throw. You had 2 timeouts left.
And you had enough time when Kayla missed that free throw, had they got that rebound, you could have called your timeout, advanced the ball. You would have gave yourself an opportunity to, do a point and shoot. What do you call it? A pass and shoot or whatever.
Right.
They had opportunities. But
that call was awful. And the thing is, and to your point about having opportunity, we saw South Carolina do it to the University of Tennessee in the SEC championship. Yes. They had a couple of seconds left. They hit that 3. Like,
because that Brazilian hardwood, Camila Cordosa, baby, she grabbed that at the top of the key and shot a 3-pointer to end the SEC tournament championship hopes for Tennessee.
Yes, and got the coach fired. Let's just keep it real. The coach got sent back.
No, I think that was a Bruin. That it's hard to coach behind a legend. They fired Holly Warwick. She wasn't getting it done, and then this girl. It's tough shoes to follow behind Pat Summitt.
Impossible shoes to follow. Shouts out to Jay Patrick saying peace to the extra point. Shouts out to Mama Hastings checking in. Good morning to you. Now, one of the things, Shamika Nicole checking in. Good morning, beautiful queens that we have in the comments. Now, Tasha, as much as Caitlin Clark is going to be the storyline heading into Sunday's championship game, she really didn't have a great game last night. I mean, she did have 21 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists. But there was something that I noticed about those 9 rebounds. And go ahead and get ready to call me a hater, America, because I saw several times in the first half where the Iowa players would scatter like cockroaches in the kitchen when that ball was coming off the rim and letting Caitlin. I was like, are they trying to get her a triple-double tonight? I digress. Shamika's like, yeah. Is right. Now, Caitlin Clark, 21 points, 9 rebounds, 7 assists, 4 turnovers, 7 for 17 shooting, just 3 for 11 from 3. Can she duplicate that performance and beat South Carolina, in your opinion?
Well, I think South Carolina is going to be ready. I was trying to pull up what she did last year when they knocked undefeated South Carolina out. Then, she had 41 in that game last year, so that there goes that point. But South Carolina, I think, is a different team this year, and they all know. You can let her cook, but you got to shut down those other players on that team. Like, if you let those other players get off along with Caitlin Clark, they're going to lose. And it's almost like how people would say, what they're going to do, but you still have to stop them. And I think it was Shannon Sharp. He was like, if she goes to the left, she's going to shoot a 3. If she goes to the right, you know she's going to drive it or she's going to distribute it. Like, you know, you just have to stop her. You know, we can't sit up here. We can't hate on the girl. She is that one. But you got to clamp down. I mean, is it like, do you let her get off and shut everybody else down because she can't score 100 points?
Right. Hopefully Dawn Staley is listening to you, because the actual MVP of that game last night was Hannah Stalky. Like I call her the Lady of Rage with the Afro puffs.
Yes.
She got busy last night. 23 points on 9 for 12 shooting and some huge baskets early in that game to at least keep Iowa within shouting distance when they had 12 first half turnovers, and Caitlin Clark was 0 for 8 from the 3-point line. So, like, to your point, without her performance last night, UConn is moving on to the national championship game on Sunday. So, South Carolina, you've been great all season, but you got your work cut out for you, because Caitlin Clark, with 12 assists 2 games ago against LSU, with 7 assists last night against UConn, she is an overall playmaker. You can't let her do both. You can't let her cook you with her own points and then get her teammates involved as well. You have to take away one or the other. And if there's a coach that I think that can devise a game plan to do so, I think that will be Dawn Staley. Now,
the Louis Vuitton lady herself, the Gucci goddess herself.
Now, speaking of the championship game, let's get to that, because we have the matchup that we've been waiting for: an undefeated South Carolina team versus the media's darling, and deservedly so. Make sure you hear me say this, and deservedly so, in Caitlin Clark. This is the matchup that I've been wanting to see since January, and I'm glad that the NCAA tournament did a job of putting them on opposite sides of the bracket. Now, all of the talk for the next 48 hours will revolve around Clark and her place in history, provided the outcome of Sunday afternoon's matchup. Does Dawn Staley and the women's Gamecocks, do they have a legitimate gripe to play the disrespect card, being that they are undefeated?
I mean, they were undefeated last year. We saw what happened. This is a whole new team. They lost 4 of the 5-star. They lost basically the whole team last year. I don't think it's like a disrespect, because it's Kaylin's time to shine. Let her have the shine. And I was going to bridge something, but I know we're going to get to that later. And I said this last week too. She's wanting all this attention. She's going to have to show up. South Carolina just has that swag. What did I tell you the other day? I said this is the Georgetown Hoyas.
Yes.
Right now, this is our team. We are rooting for South Carolina. South Carolina has the ability. They have the defense. They have the offense to win this game. But again, we all know that elephant in the room. You've got to stop Caitlin Clark. You've got to hold her.
Right. And basketball is one of the few sports where one player can literally decide the game, unlike football, when it takes a total team effort. You got to block, you got to catch the ball, you got to tackle, things of that nature. You let one player cook, and it's bye-bye, good night, Irene, in a one and done format. Now, let's have a grown-up conversation, because you said our team like the Georgetown Hoyas of the late 80s, the early to mid 80s, late 80s. Are we going to be looking at Magic versus Bird 2.0 when it comes to America tuning in and choosing sides? And if you don't want to know what I mean by choosing sides, ask one of your elders after the show. Do you think that this is going to be a situation to where America chooses sides on Sunday afternoon?
Yes, because, I mean, I say what I want to say, and I'm going to say what I want to say. You got, one Caitlin Clark walking around with the MAGA governor of Iowa, as opposed to a Dawn Staley who's always going to be pro-Black, pro-woman, pro-putting us in a positive light. So, yes, that's what it's going to be, because on my timeline, the majority of the people that were saying, go Lady Gamecocks, go Gamecocks, they were Black people.
Right. And it does take me back to the early NBA Finals, when it was finally televised, where the Lakers took on Bird Celtics, and how the country was divided. Now, we're not throwing shots when we say this, because it does work both ways. When Serena Williams is in the U.S. Open and she's advancing, we're going to tune in and we're going to support her. When Tiger Woods makes the cut and he's into Saturday and Sunday of the Masters, we are going to tune in and we are going to support. Tribalism goes on in sports. If you're not grown enough to understand that, then I don't know what else to tell you. Maybe you can move over to the Dominican Republic and rent out Tasha's house.
I mean, the thing is, like, we support Tiger even though he doesn't even claim us. That's just how we are.
It's just that's true. That's true. And I'm glad that you said that in a manner that see, mama, she's like, raise my I am, and that's okay. If you're white and you're watching this show and you're like, hey, I want to see Caitlin Clark go into a predominantly black dominated sport and cook their ass. I don't have a problem with that because
I don't have a problem with that. But just know when Tiger was out there breaking these records, we was fist pumping right along with him.
And we was doing the Dion at work on Mondays. Hey, you see Tiger? He's he's cooking y'all.
Tiger,
so it's all fun and games. Now, we talked about this last week, Jay, that we think that she would be a great fit for the Big Three because of this reason. For the Big Three, it would bring casual white fans that don't watch the Big Three. It would bring them into that market. It will make Ice Cube a ton of money, and she will make a ton of money as well, and give her crossover appeal. That there's three things that in the African-American community, if you do well, you're invited to the barbecue. Sing, rap, and ball. You do one of those three, you're invited to the barbecue. You cross up one of those old legends with the ice pack on the knees, as Tasha said last week. You go viral with that. We're going to have you at the cookout, Caitlin. So, again, it's okay for you to root for someone who looks like you for the national championship game. And it's okay for white America to do that for Caitlin Clark. I think it's great for the game. It was great for the NBA when everybody tuned in and picked sides. Jay agrees. And I think that after the game, let's all shake hands and hope that these ladies get their money. Can you briefly explain what the Big Three is for this student? Tasha?
The Big Three is a league that Ice Cube started, and it's primarily the players are old, retired players. And they actually put on the show, Melody. It comes on in the summer, like around the time the WNBA is playing, and CBS broadcasts a lot of their games. And it's like a 3-on-3 tournament.
Yes, and it sort of puts you in the mind of the Universal Soul Circus, where they just do it for a few months. They travel to a lot of the major cities, and I know they come to Dallas every year, Atlanta. They go to different markets, LA, and I went to one of the Big Threes, Melanie, and the atmosphere inside is more of like a Rucker Park atmosphere where the DJ's playing music. There's lots of fanfare. You may have a rapper perform in between games, things of that nature.
It's real ball, like it's. I mean, what they say, bare knuckle.
It's bare knuckle ball. It absolutely is, and it's spearheaded by some of the legends of the game. So the crowd is a little bit older. Caitlin Clark can bring a younger demographic and a different. He says upscale rec ball.
Yes.
Mic drop. Upscale rec ball. Yes, that is what it be.
Drinking with the tea in the finger.
Right.
the finger in the air.
Now, Caitlin Clark, if she wins this title against an undefeated South Carolina team, does she lay claim to the GOAT of women's college basketball?
No. She will never be my GOAT. I don't care how many points she scores or what she does. She will never be my GOAT. Again, Cheryl Swoops is the greatest female basketball player that I can remember watching. Of course, people say Cheryl Swoops. You have others. I don't really remember watching Cheryl. I only remember watching Cheryl on tape. I saw what Cheryl Swoops did. Cheryl Swoops was the first. She may be, I don't know if someone else now. Cheryl Swoops was the first woman to ever have a shoe named after her.
Yes.
And
we're talking big time.
That's greatness.
Now, AP coach and Shamika said it all with a emoji. She's like how she's not quite convinced.
Now, I mean, because I'm not gonna. I mean, and I love Diana Taurasi. I wouldn't put her over Diana Taurasi. That's my girl.
See, this is why I rock with her right here, because I have some names jotted down right here that I wanted to talk to her about, and one was Diana Taurasi, Shamika Holtzclaw, and Rebecca Lobo are three names to come to mind, because this is where I want to go with this. And you did not give me a chance to rebut you, and I'm a little disappointed about that, but I know somebody who's watching this is going to say yes, that if she wins this title, she is the GOAT. I've heard that a lot. Now, here's my thing with that. You cannot, I repeat, you cannot say that Caitlin Clark is the GOAT of women's college basketball if she wins this one title and not say LeBron James is the GOAT of the NBA. You can't say it.
I mean, and then if you're going to go, these ring counters, that would only give her one ring. You have
come on, Tasha. Now you sitting on my pew.
Players that have 4 or more. You know,
now this will be a Tasha thing. Speaking of, did y'all see her in that starter jacket last night, Taurasi?
She stayed with the drip. She stayed
draped up and dripped out. Know what I'm talking about. Now, me and Tasha, we agree on nothing when it comes to LeBron James, other than the fact that he paints black men as fathers and husbands in a great light. That's the only thing we agree about when it comes to LeBron James. But we have a second thing now, that if you're a ring counter and you use hey, LeBron has all of the scoring titles, just like Caitlin Clark, but he came up short in the finals, just like Caitlin Clark did last year in the national championship game, that he will never be the GOAT over Michael Jordan, because Michael Jordan went 6-0 in the finals, didn't lose the finals, and has more championships than LeBron. Diana Taurasi, more than one championship. Shamika Holdsclaw, 97 and 98. Rebecca Lobo, 99, 2000. Undefeated, never lost in the finals. Mm-hmm. Great Hall of Fame WNBA players, Hall of Fame college players. How can you put Caitlin Clark above them not acknowledge LeBron James as the GOAT?
I mean, that's you just said your same argument. It's like LeBron James is not the GOAT because you just gave all of their statistics, which would line up with Michael Jordan. Caitlin Clark would be the LeBron James. And as you said,
yes, she would.
And as you said, if you talking about she to go, then all y'all, us Jordan fans, which again, let me put this out there. I do not like Michael Jordan. I have to constantly tell people this. I'm a Pistons fan. I was a Dominique Wilkins fan, and I was a Patrick Ewing fan. I did not like Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan is my GOAT. But as Paul said, you can't say Caitlin Clark is the GOAT and then turn around and say LeBron ain't, if this is what you're going by.
See, this is what happens when you get dunked on a live feed by Tasha. I thought I was going to bait her into this, but she shut me down. Point, Tasha. Oh, I was trying to bait you into that, Tasha. Yes. See, that's why we call her T-Sizzle. Good job by you. I tried to bait you into one because I was ready to say,
you can't get me. It's Aries season. What you talking about?
It is Aries season. Shouts out. Are y'all Bulls or Rams? What is that?
We are Rams. How dare you?
I'm sorry. I'm born in August and I'm not on it like that. Now, Mom says Clark is good, but a newbie to the championship ring if she gets it. If she gets it. I just looked online this morning and South Carolina is a 6.5 point favorite. The Iowa team that you saw last night will not beat South Carolina.
No.
They won't do that. She
has major coaching adjustments in order to beat them.
See, now you got Aries coming all out of the woodwork.
You drop your birthday in there, Jay.
What's your birthday, Jay? We can add that to the shout.
I got another brother in the group.
Right. Okay. Natasha, who wins on Sunday afternoon? South Carolina or Caitlin Clark?
South Carolina.
Hey, shouts out to the Big 50 right there. Shouts out. Okay, so since South Carolina has been getting no pub through this entire incredible run that they've gone on this year, what does that say about Dawn Staley and their program if they're able to complete an undefeated season? Do they go down as one of the all-time greats, especially given the fact that they will knock off the quote-unquote GOAT of college basketball?
But remember, when I gave my coaches list and I was like, oh, Dawn Staley is one of the greatest, you and Mike, what? Dawn Staley, she's been what? Coach of the year. She's won national championships. If she does this again, that will put that South Carolina team up at the top with the great Tennessee teams, with the great UConn teams. Those are the ones that we vividly remember. That will put them up there because to go undefeated and win a national championship is a big deal. I don't care what anybody says. That's a big deal.
Right. Especially when you're playing almost 40 games. Question, have they played each other at all this season? They have not. That's why I was so looking forward to this since January, that they wouldn't have to play before the national title game. Again, credit to the NCAA tournament committee for making sure that the people get the matchup that everybody wants to see. This is Tyson Holyfield all over again. And hang in there, Melanie. We are going to address your question that you have for us.
No, it was her niece's question, Tevis.
Her niece's question. And shouts out to your niece. Thank you all for joining. Thank you all for posing questions. We love to educate as well as entertain. Tasha, has the women's game surpassed the men's game in terms of popularity?
You know what it is to me? You remember when, well, I'm going to call them what I always call them, when the C bitches started winning and everybody became a C bitch fan.
That is true.
Remember when Golden State started winning?
Especially them.
Everybody became a Warriors fan.
Especially them.
And what's happening now? Who's talking about the C bitches?
Right.
We're talking about the Warriors decline, breaking up, barely making it into the playoff tournament to even go to the playoffs.
Right. They're in the last spot right now in the play-in.
Yeah, the play-in. Now, of course, you guys know sometimes I have very misogynistic views. That's just me. I grew up listening to NWA. Too short. Uncle Luke, I'm sorry. Those are just my views. I have always enjoyed watching the women's game. Always have and always will. But I think the viewership is rising because of casual viewers. And what happens when casual viewers stop watching? The numbers go back down.
Oh, so you think this is more of a meteoric Caitlin Clark ascend more than it is the game as a total?
Right. Like, again, we watch those Lady Vols teams. We watched back in the day when Louisiana Tech was just wreaking havoc on people. Even when Pokey Reese was coaching at LSU, she had those girls out there. You had the UCONNs. You had back in the day, you had your SCs and all those type of teams that kept us interested. But then when they get to the WNBA, what happened? Nobody watched it.
Right. Right. Nobody is watching that. And you highlighted that last week. The more people watch the Big Three than they do the WNBA.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the WNBA is not on CBS. I mean, they get to be on ABC for the championship game because they're an affiliate of ESPN who owns the rights to the tournament. But if they didn't hold the rights to that tournament, we might see them on True TV on Sunday.
And if the game wasn't as popular as it is now, we all know that game would be on ESPN like it has been every other year. I mean, I remember I wanted to watch the UT and UConn game so bad, and I was working a part-time job. I told those people I was sick because I wanted to go home and watch that game. But again, I am a sports watcher. I'm not I don't follow a trend.
Right.
So I've always watched women's basketball. I think now it is the in thing. It is the trendy thing. And now I'm hoping, I'm kind of along with Shamika. I hope it sustains and, keeps climbing because these women deserve their due. But right now I'm going to say it's a fad because of the Caitlin Clarks, because of the Angel Reeses, the people who are bringing, and then social media is putting it out there more.
Right.
So you got people who can connect with these players in a way that we couldn't. We watched it because we wanted to watch it.
Right. And just for the love of the game. Now, Shamika's dropping some bars, y'all. She says, not for me, but it's been a long time coming for women's basketball to get some shine. Some of us have been watching women's ball, to your point. And it's good to see your sport take center stage this weekend and basically overshadow the men's Final Four, which has never happened since I've been watching ball. She says the media sponsors have to buy into the hype, and if they don't, it'll be right back to where it was. To your point, it will be right back. Jarrell's checking in. Shouts out. He says referees definitely followed the script. That was an offensive with that offensive foul. Jarrell,
I say that. I said I didn't know they had scripts in women's college basketball.
Jarrell comes in with a bar every single Saturday, y'all, because he just took the words right out of my mouth when you were talking about being on ABC versus being stuck on some ESPN Plus channel. That ABC director called up, hey, put me on the phone with Cleveland. Hey, look, y'all ain't finna mess up these ratings. We just pulled a 12.5. We're going to maybe double that in this championship game on a Sunday afternoon with no football on. Come on, man. That is about to do some numbers on Sunday afternoon. It's right after church in a perfect time slot. The men's game will not be going on. Their championship game is Monday. It sets up really nicely for something like this to happen. And I wish somebody would tag our good friend Wayne Donaldson, because he is a basketball referee, to get his thoughts on that. I thought about him immediately when we started to lay out this script. Like, I wonder what Wayne thinks about that call. And will he have the stones to make that call? Good morning, Christina. Oh, nice setting in the background on that profile pic, by the way, Christina. She says, as late as that made the call, Stevie and Ray could see that's why they made that call. The girl didn't even get to open on it. Like,
not Stevie and Ray.
Yeah. Tag Wayne. Get Wayne in these comments. We got to get his thoughts on that. Tasha, should South Carolina be worried about playing a close game against Iowa? That's the only way the referees can get involved. Do they need to blow them out to secure their victory?
They shouldn't be worried about a close game because I think when you go down the stretch, they are a well-coached overall team.
Yes.
But again, we don't know what these script writers are saying of what they're going to do. Do they just want to keep promoting Caitlin Clark? Which again, we have to keep saying this because somebody will get a clip and say we out here hating. Ain't nobody hating on this girl because I even put it. I said she is not to be played with.
The thing is, all they have to do is click on your profile and go through some of your feed from the Elite Eight. You gave Caitlin Clark her flowers, big time. You said that she was not to be toyed with. You said that she was that one. She is her, and she is one of one, and she's deserved all of the accolades. And we both want to see her in the Big Three. I want to see her do the Big Three, get her bag, and then go to the WNBA and cook. Now, a lady at work who's a big college basketball fan for the women's game said that she's concerned with the physicality of the women's game for Caitlin Clark as far as how they can beat you up on pick and rolls and how strong and physical some of those guards are in the WNBA. But I want to put a bow on something that we were just talking about as far as the popularity of the women's game versus the men. LeBron James was asked about this on Wednesday, and he had an interesting comment that I'm dying to get your thoughts on because you had a problem with this in the men's game. Now, he said basically the women's rise in popularity over the men could be attributed to the star power that the women have. And you develop star power because the women have to stay in the game longer. In college basketball for women, they must turn 22 the calendar year that they're entering their name into the draft or be out of eligibility, whichever one comes first. You know, the men can go one and done. And Tasha screams from the rooftop, hell, I don't know who's on these teams because all the great players leave after a year and the transfer portal is so wide open. Let me ask you this. Who should adopt whose model? Should the men take on the women's model of being at least 22 the calendar year that you declare for the draft to make them stay in college longer? Or should women have the opportunity to be one and dones as well?
This is my thing. Most of these players say, oh, we're leaving early. Okay, I'm taking NIL out of it because we need the money. You know, I got to help mama. I get my money. I got to send mama some home. I got to take care of family. So do y'all not think some of these girls need to do the same thing? Yet women stay in college, especially back in the day, you're staying 4 years. Right. Because you want to graduate because there was no WNBA. And even once there was a WNBA, the women were staying 4 years. They were, playing out there all their eligibility. I would like to see the men's game at least make them play 2 years.
Right.
At least. Because, again, people are going to watch the NBA. I personally have slacked off of the NBA because I don't know any of the players other than the certain stars.
Right.
With the women, it's helping, like LeBron said, it's helping to grow because you know who these players are because they've been in college. But then again, they fall off in the WNBA because of viewership and, what have you.
Right.
I just personally, for me, I would love for that one and done rule to be gone. I mean, because even in football, I know they're saying because of the development of the bodies, football, you have to stay at least 3 years.
You're right.
Before you can decide to go pro, because you have a lot of 20-year-old millionaires coming up this April 25th and in the past because they can come out in 3 years. But man, this NIL and this transfer portal is murking up the waters. And it's funny, he would say that, seeing how he talking about his son getting ready to go put his name in, but still.
Oh, we're gonna get to that, Tasha. So
transfer portal.
Stop it. That's called a tease, ladies. And
okay, I'm gonna stop.
Now, Melanie Sneese asked a question that I found very intriguing. And it revolves around Angel Reese. Now, she went viral after her loss in the Elite Eight to the same Iowa team and Caitlin Clark that she defeated in the national championship game last year. Now, in her post-game press conference, a tearful Angel Reese basically, and I'm paraphrasing here, said that she's been the victim of cyberbullying, being sexualized, death threats, and racial insults and slurs ever since she won the national title, ever since she did this to Caitlin Clark, ever since she did the whole troll job at the end of the national title game last year. Now, Emmanuel Acho caught a lot of heat this week. He's a host on Fox Sports 1. He has his own show called Speak, where he basically said, Angel, you created this villain persona. You're the trash talker. You talk all of this big, bad, bold stuff when you're winning. So you got to hold this L when you lose, and you just got to deal with it. Tasha, where do you stand on this? Is there a line to be drawn with how we treat collegiate women and when it comes to criticism? Does Angel have a point here?
First of all, to be honest, I agreed with Sam Acho on some of it, not all of it, because she did say she didn't mind playing the villain. She is brash. She is, in your face, which that part I don't mind, because you have to have a certain type of swagger, right, to be out here and play this game, because you can't be letting people think you soft, you meek, and somebody's going to run you over. But what I didn't agree with him, that girl was full of emotion.
Right.
Full of emotion. She responded to a question that a reporter asked her, and she broke down. But she was saying, I'm going to announce, I'm going to discuss with my coach. We all knew that was that girl's last game, and you could tell it by that press conference.
Right.
She was overcome with emotion. That's why I love Flau'jae sitting there taking up for her sister.
Yes.
And as I told Tevis, we're not going to have no black girl slander. Point blank, period. That's not what we finna do. I'm going to support my young black sister, because we are the most marginalized group of people in black women. They made AI versions of these nude pictures of her and put it out there. You don't see, maybe they don't think Caitlin Clark is cute, but you don't see nude photos, AI images of Caitlin Clark out there. Why would that happen to Angel and not Caitlin? Why is that not happening to any other college basketball player? I haven't seen that story out there. But what it all boils down to me, is good old-fashioned prejudice and racism.
Tasha, to your point, and this is factual, Twitter shut down the search engine for Taylor Swift when the AI porn of her came out during the NFL playoffs. Mm-hmm. You could not, and good morning, Tevis. She says exactly. Oh, beautiful picture there, Tevis. We see you shining. We see you shining. And Shamika says, I will say this, with the NIL, these girls can get the bag the way they can't get to it with the WNBA, because the money ain't there. Hence the media sponsorship comment I made earlier. This goes right back to what you were saying last week about.
Before we go back to the Angel Reese, I'm glad Shamika put that. Somebody said women's basketball fans have, been saying that they can get money for years or whatever. The owners have the money. The answer was correct. While the revenue sometimes hasn't been there, the actual owners have enough money to pay these girls.
Right. And that's what Kobe and Kyrie have been championing for the longest, wanting them to have some better levity and equality for the women as far as money is concerned. No, you're fine. But just agreeing.
And then the person replied, the actual owners have the dough for improvements. A lot of them use the WNBA for tax write-offs.
Right. Now.
Okay, now back to the Angel Reese conversation.
Now back to the Angel Reese conversation, because Joy Taylor, who is actually a co-host along with Acho on that show, she made a striking comparison that sat in my spirit. And I didn't think about it this way until after she said it. Who is an African-American woman as well in the media. She says, when Steph puts you to sleep, we applaud. Mm-hmm. When LeBron, we applauded. The throwing in the air, we applauded. When Russ, when he rocks the baby, when he cradles the baby after making a fool out of somebody or cross somebody up, we applauded. So why isn't the woman supposed? It's almost like stay in your place. Almost like who do you think you are as a woman? Is that offensive to you?
What I think it is like you said, stay in your place. A woman shouldn't do those things. A woman should stay in a woman's place. But that's not how the game is. Then you complain about the women playing soft. But then when they get out here and they're adopting, you know, some of these things that they see the men do, it becomes an issue. Again, right. I really don't care for a lot of the trash talking, but they all trash talk. But it's, to me, it's the in your face trash talking. Right. That's just kind of put me off just a little.
And Angel Reese is definitely guilty of that.
Right. And it's like, you know, like I said, you wanted all of this attention. You have to be able to deal with what the media brings you, whether it's good or bad.
Right.
You know, like I said, unfortunately. And then, you know, again, here's my misogynism thoughts coming in. You don't want to be sexualizing this. She's not the only one. She's not the only one. But you're posing for Fashion Nova in skin tight clothes, showing everything, all your prints, all your cracks and your crevices. But women, we tend to do that. We put on this stuff and say, oh, what I wear doesn't matter. That doesn't mean I'm seeing. Yes, you are. Now, I'm death threats and making fake nude photos. That's not right. That's not cool as by any means. But it's like sometimes I think as women, people expect us to carry ourselves a certain way, but women, we're not doing that now. We're right. Out here, we're living our lives, we're being who we want to be. And they keep trying to put us in a box, especially Black women, because they have always sexualized Black women. Remember back in, was it like 1800s, that the African lady with the very large butt, I can't think of her name right now, they had her in a museum and had white people to come by and look at her because of her assets. I remember when Serena wore that black cat suit. You remember that?
I remember that.
We all remember that cat suit.
And the suit she wore in the Beyonce video.
Right. I mean, there was no big social media then, but look how that blew up without social media about what she wore. I mean, she can't help that she's shaped that way. Like you had Lindsay Davenport saying, oh, they need to be tested. Lindsay, maybe you should have been taking what Venus and Serena you alleged they took, so you can get your big sloth looking self to some Wimbledon titles and what have you. But Black women have always been over sexualized. We've always been cast as being these sexual deviants, when you have white women and women in general who have always been open with their sexuality. But for some reason, it's okay when men do it, but women can't come out and say, yes, I like sex. Yes, I like to dress a certain way. Yes, I like this and I like that. Well, okay, there you go.
Right.
But she has a boyfriend.
Right. Now, Melanie says Caitlyn has no sex appeal. She looks like she probably pimps when she walks. Oh, wow. Wow. I'm going to stop short of that. As a matter of fact, I think I speak for a lot of guys when I say this, not all guys, but I say most of us, we don't really look at the women's game like, oh, look at her butt. Oh, look at her chest. Oh, she's fine. We mostly look at it for the competitive spirit of it, like a Caitlin Clark.
You remember when Gilbert Arenas, when he caught all that flack, when they started the WNBA and he put this video out, he says, everybody's mad because this is what you thought the WNBA was going to be. And it was two women playing basketball in thongs.
Right. And so I am glad that they haven't turned it into basically the lingerie league, like those football videos where it's a lingerie league where they have to be all dolled up with hair and makeup. You know, when you know people personally, like a Stiana Holder who played basketball, the last thing you want her to be is sexualized on the court. She is a woman. She is all feminine. She is a mother. She is a daughter. She is a sister. I want that to take forefront over, hey, would you like take her out on a date? Like as far as
but you do see a lot of the girls now. They're out there playing. I said, how are they playing in these wigs? Because mine would have slid all the way back.
Can you imagine your do-rag showing?
Yeah, that would have the wig cap. You know, they got their nails on. They're wearing makeup. Women are trying to be a little, you know, there's because at the end of the day,
NIL has a lot to do with that.
We shouldn't have to be out here being masculine to play a sport that is considered which is basically male dominated. Remember that the thing about the Olympic team I told you to watch, the 30 for 30, when they were saying some of the women who were lesbians, how they were saying USA Basketball tried to push them to be more feminine because that was what was accepted.
Right. But Tasha, let's keep it real. This whole trend all started after the nappy head hoes comment by Amos.
May the devil continue to piss on his soul.
It all started after that. Remember the press conference after that when that women's team all had perms then? And
baby,
that's where it started.
But see, Vivian,
we don't get out of that.
We not fixing to do this.
We getting out of that because I'm not going to fire you up on that one. But that's where the seed was planted to change the image of the woman basketball athlete. Let's get over to the men real quick because, I don't want to get stuck in that. But yeah, Amos, you was monkey for that, bro. You was monkey. Hand that man a banana. Now, Bronny James set social media ablaze yesterday afternoon when he announced on his Instagram that he was entering his name into the 2024 draft while also keeping his college eligibility open by entering his name into the transfer portal. Tasha, your thoughts when you saw that Instagram post?
G League All-Star, if that. I just don't.
He's a prince. He's the son of a king.
It doesn't matter. He's averaging 4.8 points a minute. He's not even really getting on the court. The way I see it is a team will fall for that because wherever you draft him, it's going to be a circus and people are going to watch. But so maybe it's
are they though? But are they? Because think about it. Think about who his father is, LeBron James, and the networks that cover his father as well. If Bronny James would have so much as taken a charge this year at USC, it would have been on the Sports Center top 10. Like, just because of his last name. He did nothing.
It's a gimmick to sell tickets.
He did nothing.
Come on, let's be serious. Let's be serious. It is a gimmick to sell tickets and to get viewership up because no one is watching him play now.
Like, I didn't watch 1 minute of him playing ball for USC this year. I don't know if it's because they played on the West Coast. I don't know it's because he only averaged less than 20 minutes. He didn't even play that much. And as a matter, and if you're USC, the boy almost died on your court in practice before the season started. So they probably were scared to play him.
I have 2 points to that. Now, it may be a good thing for him to get out there and see where people are actually rating him, but who's going to be honest enough to tell him he does not need to go? And also, Adrian Wojnarowski put out this.
Wow, you nailed that last name. Good job.
He put out this message, and he says because of his cardiac arrest and heart procedure last summer, he will need to be evaluated and approved by the NBA's fitness play panel before he can become eligible to participate in the team workouts, the draft combine in May, or be selected in the draft.
Wow. So this is an uphill climb, to say the least. Melanie has a question for you, Tasha. Has he established himself yet? No. Let me read it for the people on the audio podcast. Has he established himself yet aside from his dad? Does he need more experience? Did he even start? No.
Yes.
He didn't even start. No. Wait a minute. Here we go. Now we're getting close to home. He said his daddy should be honest with him.
But the thing is, Tavis, before he was going off to college, LeBron was saying that he could cook some of the current NBA players.
I have no defense for that. Zero defense for that. He did. He put the target on Bronny's back when he posted that day. And if you're LeBron, you can forget about deleting the tweet. They didn't screen grab that one seconds after you done
people ate him up after Bronny was out there. Like, I mean, you didn't even see photos of the parents at the games anymore.
Well, Savannah put LeBron on the couch for that. Every mother, you know how mothers are with their sons, and for her to be so quiet and in the background, being that she's a billionaire wife, like a real basketball wife, like a billionaire wife, that she doesn't want her son having to go through that type of scrutiny. I can't imagine the mom being a momager in that way. LeBron said that he's better than some of these guys in the NBA, and the guy couldn't crack the starting lineup in his own team, a team that didn't make the NCAA tournament. They weren't even good.
Right. And the thing is, and I was watching the Shot podcast, and LeBron kind of said he regrets naming Bronny after him. He said Bronny started calling himself Bronny because those are big shoes to fill. Look at Michael Jordan's two sons. They turned out to be, because that's Michael Jordan. Like you can't, it's certain shoes that you cannot fill. Ken Griffey Jr. is the anomaly. He surpassed his father in baseball. They played together, and he was a first ballot Hall of Famer and should have been unanimous, except for that one hating-ass writer. But it's hard to fill those shoes. I think Bronny should just, wherever he's trying to train, he is in the portal, right?
Yes.
He needs to take the NBA off the list, find a college that's going to suit him. The NBA may not be in his future. And from everything that I'm seeing, I haven't seen anything that says he has NBA caliber, but we have seen less talented go who's advising these people. I know Rich Paul is his uncle Rich Paul and everything.
Right.
They need to give this boy better advice because the NBA is not the move.
Now, Jarrell says off subject, but when is Doc Rivers going to get fired? We're going to talk about the NBA in depth next week as we preview the playoffs. But let's just say as soon as Milwaukee gets bounced in the first round. So I'm just putting that out there, Jarrell. As soon as they get bounced in the first round, Giannis, I got so much smoke for you next week, Giannis.
Instead of Mr. Steal Your Man, Coach Mr. Steal Your Job.
Right, like you are a coach killer, Greek freak. Now. One more thing.
I'm talking about Doc Rivers stole that man's job.
Right, I know. The other guy was 30-13. Doc Rivers has a losing record. He lost to the Wizards and the Grizzlies in back-to-back games this week. They are struggling.
And to get viewership at the Wizards game, they're having a game before the 2 Chainz concert, just so people could be there.
Hey, at this late in the season, you got to do what you got to do. I was watching the Pistons versus the Grizzlies last night. It was 15 people in the stands. Like, literally. You could, I digress. Now, back to Bronny and LeBron. LeBron James has told us repeatedly that the last thing that's on his basketball resume is to play with his son. Now, LeBron is set to be a free agent this summer. He strategically aligned his latest contract to become a free agent the year after Bronny's freshman year where he can be eligible to go pro. Could this be a classic case of corporate nepotism where he can dangle that? If you're Jeannie Buss, would it be worth it for you to take Bronny James in the second round to secure LeBron James for another couple of years?
No. I mean, I really think LeBron is convinced that this boy can run these big dogs out here, which he cannot. And he's just basically wanting somebody to give his son a chance. Right. Hey, I've seen other people use nepotism to get things.
Amy Adams Strunk is the owner of the Tennessee Titans because her daddy died and left it to her. She didn't come up through the ranks.
We had 2 presidents named George Bush, one George Herbert Walker and one George Walker Bush.
It happens in corporate America, and I'm looking at this as a business move for LeBron. We see people leverage their power and their influence to get their kids into schools. Remember the whole scandal with the people going to jail for faking those scores for their rich kids? Like, this is the same thing.
Good. That was a good documentary, actually.
It was excellent. Really, I suggest you all watch it. But if you're LeBron and you desperately want your kid to play in the NBA, wouldn't you leverage yours? Let's bring this down to us, and not down to us because we're not down to any other human being. So I don't mean it in that measure. But let's say you, Tasha, you have an opportunity to, you're top 3 in your field of whatever your chosen profession is, and your daughter wants to go into that field. You can leverage your weight in the game to secure her a nice gig to let her live her dream. Wouldn't you do that?
Yes, but I'm also among the mindset of you have to earn this as well. But I'm going to definitely
like E.F. Hutton.
Yes,
earn it.
Earn it. But I'm definitely going to get her in that door. I mean, right. Yeah, I'm not going to sit up here and lie and say that I wouldn't. I would definitely get her in the door. I would definitely put her name at the top of the interview list, and it would go from there. I would, she would have to do the interview and everything, but I would definitely make sure that interview is there. I mean, right. I've benefited from it. I remember like one of the first jobs I had, my aunt retired. She was a probation officer. And when I went in for the interview, she had told them, oh, my niece is going to interview, but I did not use my maiden name. So when they were talking to me, they were saying, I forgot how it came out. And they said, oh, that's your aunt. And I said, yes. And they said, well, why didn't you tell us that? And I'm thinking, should I have to, like, were you not going to give me the job if I did not tell you that?
Right. Right. Look.
So, I mean, she may or may not have helped me get that job. But I mean, I did get the job. But I mean, I'm not going to say that her being there, because she was there for over 20 years. I'm not saying that her working there did not get me in.
Right. Right. And my mom, Angela Coulter, AP Coulter, got me and my brother on at her job the summer that we were in high school as a summer job. I had a real 40-hour-a-week job making good money. I'm buying my own shoes. I'm buying my own video games. And we got the job because my mom was heavy in the office there. Some good cushy jobs, some good job. We ride to work with her, ride home with her. Everybody making their own money. It was a win-win-win. And I ain't apologizing for being able to buy my video games because my mama worked there. We do it all the time. This is just on a billionaire scale. So I don't have a problem with that. Now, if LeBron, to Tevis Moore's point, if LeBron says, Bronny, look, I don't want to set you up for failure. We'll test the waters, but I really think you need to go in the portal and get another year of experience in college. Here's my question, Tasha. Should Bronny step down a level and play for a mid-major and be a big fish in a small pond? Or will his last name not allow him to do that?
I mean, his last name and his pride, his father, LeBron is thinking NBA or bust. And I'm thinking, well, what was I watching? They were like, no, we're not going to call them bust. We're going to say didn't live up to their potential.
Bust. F it. Y'all getting paid in college now. I could call you a bust. The man is worth $10 million. Bronny James is worth $10 million aside from his father with his own endorsement deals and NIL. How you worth $10 million and average less than 5 points a game is only can be done by a person with the last name of James. So you got to catch the smoke too. If Angel got to sit up there and take the smoke, so do you, Bronny.
You're gonna have to get these strays too, bro.
You're gonna have to duck these strays.
And we love you, Bronny. We love you.
Right.
We and you know I love Savannah. So Savannah, don't get mad.
Yeah, she's the first lady. She's absolutely remarkable. But Bronny, like I was thinking a Davidson, a Creighton, one of the MAC schools, or one of the Colorado State. Go somewhere obscure where your father can't just roll out of bed and go down and watch you play.
I mean, and you think about it too. I think the James name got him into USC.
Just like those other people in that scandal.
And then let's take this back. Look at Deion's boys. Shiloh been in college 8 years, damn near. Now we talking about this other brother down there, the white kid that's been in college for his 10th year.
You said since the LA riots.
Right. We got to talk about Shiloh. Shiloh went to SC, South Carolina. Shiloh graduated from Jackson State. And Shiloh also, this is going to be his second season in Colorado. That doesn't happen if he's not Deion Sanders' son.
Right. And speaking of Deion Sanders Jr. was not the athlete that Shiloh and Shador are, and he was okay with that. He runs social media for his father.
Right, and he has a very good YouTube, and I watch it. He has very good content. I can't think of the name of the production, but it popped up, so I've been watching a few of them here or there. I mean, that's your shtick. Everyone doesn't need to be an athlete.
And we don't hold that against Deion Sanders Jr. Everybody has a role to play. I would not hold it against Bronny if he became some high-level executive at Clutch Sports where he could still make his money, he could still capitalize off the James name and live his own life. But I am really concerned about him going to the NBA and flaming out, and that be part of LeBron's legacy.
And then
Melanie's checking in.
At home, you're sitting at home, and then when you go out, everybody know you're using your daddy's money.
Right. Now, she says, why would he risk his health when he is bringing in the money anyway, not to mention his inheritance? That's a great question, Tasha. What's the answer to that?
And the thing is, we don't even know if Bronny actually wants this because he's a quiet kid. Have we ever heard him even say this?
They don't allow him to speak. I was just watching Kendrick Perkins yesterday on First Take saying, hey, LeBron, if you want to do Bronny a favor, let him be his own man. Let him speak. Let him say, hey, I can cook half the NBA. Don't you put that out there for him. Let him speak. He's grown now. You still got this barrier, this bubble around him, which I get it. Parents are going to protect their children. My mom protected us from certain things growing up, and I thank her for that now. But you can't shield them forever.
Right.
You know,
but you also can't be their biggest detriment. Like LeBron is the reason that he has all these eyes on him. Had he just went to USC without LeBron saying he better than half the
right.
NBA players now, we wouldn't even be talking about this right now.
To Melanie's point, we'll be talking more about his health. Like, okay, well, we understand what happened and blah blah blah. But now you're like LeBron is going to make an even bigger target on Bronny's back if he goes to the NBA under the guise of they drafted me so my dad will come play for them. Like, I don't want to get the job that way that publicly. Not in today's social media world.
Right.
Nobody is going to ever validate you. You'd have to score 30 points a game for people to raise up off your neck. So hopefully everything works out well for Bronny. Hopefully Savannah puts her foot down and actually has a sit down and does what's best for Bronny long term. Because I don't want him to now we got a MJ fan. Let me preface that before I even read this comment. This is all about LeBron just want to play with his son because he definitely is not ready for the league. I agree.
That's what we said, Mike. Yep.
I agree. Now Jordan had no such illusions. He told his sons going up the road somewhere.
He sure did. He told his kids, "I feel sorry for you." He did. He told them.
He was like, I know this is a tough road to hoe. So go ahead and play the background. And we have not been on their necks either because they stayed out of the spotlight. They didn't,
Well, no, not that one that was out there with that pass around. But hey, it's neither here nor there.
That's somebody's mother. Now, AP Coulter, I wish the kid could get it. You know what, Mama? I'm okay with this. I wish the kid could get a cushy contract to sit in that booth and commentate. Right? You have the James brand behind you. You have Clutch Sports behind you. They're great agents. They get you the bag. He could definitely go on ESPN and do something like that. He agrees with you on that, Tasha. That is just crazy. As we hit the top of the hour, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for T Sizzle's top 5. And T Sizzle, since we're so college basketball dominant today, I was curious to know your top college basketball teams of all time, men or women. The floor is yours.
I forgot to do the top 5, so I'm just getting ready to rattle some stuff. What is that noise? I'm just going to rattle some stuff.
The sounds is coming from inside the house.
I'm just going to hold on. Can you hear that? No, it stopped. I'm just going to rattle some stuff off the top of my head. Of course, we're going to go with those Lady Vols teams with the Meeks. Yep. Thank you, Michael.
That was 98. That was 97, 98. Tamika Catchings and Shamiqua.
We're going to go with the Georgetown Hoyas back in the day with Patrick Ewing when they won the national championship.
That's on my list, 84.
Who else was great? I got it. Even though I hate to do it, got to put some of them UConn teams on there. But I'm going to go with the Taurasi led ones because
not the Rebecca Lobo teams.
I don't like Rebecca Lobo. I never did.
Okay, fair enough.
I'm going with the Diana Taurasi teams because that was my girl. You got now. These two are going to be a little. You know, Michigan always going to be on our list, but they ain't won.
Always, because that was the first name on my list.
But they didn't win nothing. I'm going to take it back. We're going to go with the 40 minutes of hell, them Arkansas Razorbacks.
With Mayday, Todd Mayberry.
And
Brent Day.
And them UNLV running Rebels.
You basically just said my list off the top of your head, Tasha. Quite impressive because
I literally, when you said that, I was like, "Ooh, what was the top 5?"
No, you nailed it, Tasha. Like when it comes to basketball and its historical context, I'm putting my money on you every time because you watch both games. That's why I was curious to put the men and the women in the same bracket. I got 90 UNLV Rebels. I got 84 Georgetown, 98 Women's Vols, 99 UConn, and the 83 North Carolina team with Jordan, Worthy, and Sam Perkins.
Yeah.
They were a monster as well. Tasha, who do you have in the men's Final Four? Do you even care?
Who's in the Final Four? Is UConn?
Exactly. That goes to my point that nobody cares. You know,
after both of mine got kicked out, I just was really like, I don't.
It's Big Baby Davis Jr. with North Carolina State versus UConn. I'm sorry, versus Purdue tonight, and it's Alabama versus UConn. So Purdue, North Carolina State, and Alabama, UConn.
I'm just gonna roll Tide because I definitely don't want Purdue to win. I don't.
Right. I'm sick of Zach Edey. Go sit down.
NC State would be a good Cinderella story. That would be
the Cardiac Cats all over again, and they're very similar to the Jim Valvano team that was an
yes, and
11
you
seed
have
and went
Jim
all the
out
way.
there running around with
Running
nobody.
around looking for somebody to hug.
They upset Houston. Nobody wanted to get that man a hug. He done coached the game of his life. And they didn't rest in peace to the great coach, man. You know, nobody even hugged that man.
Right. See, now you just talked me into going for NC State because I was thinking like I don't like any of these teams, to be quite frankly. I'm just really waiting on South Carolina versus Iowa. I do want to, as far as women's basketball teams, I want to give a honorable mention to the 1992 Pearl Cone Lady Firebirds with the original Big Three of Sean DeBoose, Deanna Holder, and April Cunningham. Mm-hmm. They put Lady Paws on people. They were must-see TV. They were an excellent team. They were well balanced. They were
wasn't physical. There yet. It was Sean DeBoose.
The April was 93.
April was there. That's right. April,
yeah, she was a freshman.
That's right. She was a
freshman that year. Yeah.
Shout out to April, my Aries sister.
That team would have won the state title if not for two people. One, Tiffany Woosley, who went on to go to UT from Shelbyville, and one late, great LaTanya Coulter of the Hillwood Lady Hilltoppers, who dropped 32 on Pearl Cone in the in the district tournament. May she forever rest in peace. Now, we got Melanie Taylor. I pulled UConn men in the office. Oh, well, congratulations. You're about to make some money, Miss Taylor. Shouts out to you. Ladies and gentlemen, it looks like Tasha T. Sizzle is either meditating or there she is. I thought you was frozen. You were so still. Who are you shouting out this week?
I'm gonna shout out. Let me pull this up. I'm Melanie. I hope you still on here.
She just posted.
I'm gonna shout out two people. I'm gonna shout out my little baby girl. First of all, y'all know she has been working for ESPN. She wants to do something different, but what is my baby doing right now? She has a small gig at NBC Sports. She is working.
There's no such thing as a small gig in sports. Do your thing, Nisi Pooh.
She is acting as an assistant to one of the talents on the for the soccer game. So we're gonna keep her in prayer. Hopefully, we're gonna see where that goes. Lastly, is for Melody's baby. Melody said, "Let me be the first to wish my legacy, number 21 intensity, and her line sister, 36 forces of resilience, a happy 10-year anniversary, Deltaversary, to my little cousin Morgan, my favorite it girl." That's the chapter of Delta Sigma Theta that she pledged at MTSU. So shouts out to Sasha and to Morgan. I'm still allowed to call her Mo. No one else can call her that. Only a few people. So shouts out to my little Mo.
She says they both deserve good husbands, y'all. Fellas, step your games up.
Melanie, do you know the conversation that your daughter and I have? Then we discuss this very issue. And it's not them, Mel. It's not them. I'm convinced it's not our girls.
I want to send a shout out, speaking of you and Melanie and all the ladies in the chat, to the ladies. The ladies who have come to the forefront in sports, the Sashas, my niece people, Denise, to the Caitlin Clarks, to the Angel Reeses, to the women who are taking that NIL money, who are forging ahead, who are making names for themselves, who are making brands for themselves. Tasha, we just did a whole hour show on women's basketball, and it hit. It hit hard. So congratulations to the women by putting your name in the ring and by putting the men in the chokehold this year when it comes to basketball. This is your year. 2024 is the year of the female basketball player, and I couldn't be happier or more proud of you. I have a mother and a sister. I got a lot of female cousins. I love them all dearly. All girls rock, but black girls rock. We're going to see y'all next week. We'll see you in 23 hours in 6 days. Until then, say it in Spanish for me, Tasha.
Vamos Azul.
Peace out.